The clans of magic are preparing for a new era. Discover places of power, perform rituals, and battle for the favor of the Power Stones in Evenfall. Thank you for joining us at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Melissa Delp.
And I'm Kevin Delp. Evenfall is a worker placement, engine building, tableau building game for 1 to 4 players that takes about 1 to 2 hours to play. It's published by Madigo, and they sent us this copy to review.
Now we'll give a super quick overview of the game and then share our thoughts. In Evenfall, you play as a clan of witches. There are 3 rounds in the game with 4 phases in each round. In the Scout phase, you gain cards, resources, and mana based on your income. In the Action phase, players take turns performing one main action.
The actions are things like sending your witches to the region boards to take one of the places of power cards, or having them activate the action spaces. Witches and elders can also be used to activate cards in your inner and outer circle.
Another action is to activate your clan token, which basically allows you to harvest your outer circle. Other actions involve playing cards from your hand, either as relics on places of power, as specialists with special bonuses, or as council members.
After everyone passes, you move on to the battle phase. You gain bonuses for reaching certain battle strengths and for having the most strength. Players can spend mana to increase their strength.
The round end phase is mainly cleanup and possibly some effects that are triggered.
Now after 3 rounds, you count up your points, and whoever has the most will win.
I know that was really quick and basic, but we'll go into some more details as we talk about our opinions.
We're going to separate this video into 4 sections. The 4 C's. Our thoughts about components, our critiques, our commendations, and finally, our conclusions.
So for components, I like the wooden components in the game.
Don't we all?
There are different colors and shapes for the resources. And then the player pieces, you have 2 different types of characters, the witches and the elders. And I think the shapes are easily distinguishable. And I like that there's some screen printing on them.
I like that there are double-layered player boards. But I'm going to save a little bit of my comments about those double-layered player boards for the critique section.
I thought that the graphic design was good in the game. The icons were easy to understand.
Yeah, there was nothing that was like, oh, what is that? I mean, sometimes you have to check the rule book, but it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yes, once you kind of learn what they mean, they're fairly intuitive. You have a player aid that helps walk you through it, and then the back of the rule book also has some helpful information about turn structure and the icons.
All right, critiques. Let's talk about those player boards real quick. So, I would say in most games that we play, and there are dual-layered player boards, they're already pre-put together.
Because it's inset, you move your things around,
Not in this one. In this game, you have to do work to put these player boards together. Now you would think, oh, you just slap them together and you got the things. Oh, no. Like, they have to be aligned properly in order for things to fit well. Well, because you have your elders and your witches, and they have to go inside. And if they're off a little bit, then you want to make sure. I'm just like.
It was double-layered stickers,
yeah,
right?
So you have dual-layered stickers that you're putting on one of the boards, and then you're sticking it on. They do have spots to put the stickers, but just because they have spots doesn't mean you are putting the boards on properly.
So I was not allowed to touch these.
No.
I do not have crafting skill in that sort of way. So this was Kevin's job, because if I had done it, it would not have turned out well.
So I think they've turned out well. But I spent a little bit extra time to make sure.
And there wasn't a lot of information in the rule book about how to put these things together. Like, I had to search for it.
You didn't even know that they were dual-layered at
the beginning, when I was just looking through it. I was like, oh, it's 2 different player boards. And then I was like, oh, this isn't making sense. So I kind of had to search for the instructions of how to put them together. And then it wasn't really any instructions. Yep. It was just like...
do it.
Yeah.
All right. Another small critique that some people may think it's bigger, is this game can be prone to a little AP analysis paralysis because you need to do things in order to get the most sort of benefit.
Because, yeah, it's the type of game where there's like 4 or 5 different main actions you can do, and you're choosing which one to do each turn. Kind of like Lost Ruins of Arnak. There's, am I putting my workers out? Am I playing cards? Am I getting resources? And so it's not just, every turn I put someone out or something
and
like
I would
that.
say this game sort of has a ramping effect. So round 1, it seems like, it went so fast. And you're like, how's this game going to be, an hour and a half to 2 hours or whatever, after you play like the first round of your first game. And then you get into round 2 and 3 and you're like, things just ramp up. So you're able to do a lot more with your workers, and you have more cards out, so you're able to activate your cards and move your cards down to your inner circle and activate them again because, it's just like you're able to do more things as the game progresses. Which gives, do you have something else? I have something about the cards themselves.
Oh, I was going to talk about the cards, but you can talk, you talk about the cards.
Well, no, you can jump in. So this is a card-driven game because it's that's the meat of the game is getting the cards that work well for your game. Not only for your inner and outer circle, but also you have the specialists, and you have those specialists are dual purpose because you could use them as specialists, or many of them have ongoing abilities or like end game points or things like that you can slide under, and they're not specialists anymore. You can just do really well in synergizing your cards. It's a critique because I'm okay with it, but a lot of people in games would be like, you just got better cards, that's why you won, sort of thing. That could be a critique that people have about this game because there are some really good cards that connect well together.
Yeah, so some players don't like the potential swinginess, I guess, of that card-driven type of game.
I think there's some helps in that and with some player interaction, but we'll get to that in the commendations.
Yeah, and basically what I was going to say kind of rides the coattails of what you were talking about, that some combinations, some specialists, some of the powers can feel a little OP. So I'm playing along and having to spend...
the moon side of the board?
No, just like the cards themselves
the cards, okay.
Or player powers. So all of that, because there's a lot of different things can give you special stuff that you can do that other players can't do. And sometimes I'm looking and going, oh, wow, Kevin got to do this, and this. I don't have those abilities. Okay. So it can feel a little bit like some players might get like frustrated that they don't have those awesome things.
Right.
Because you need to actually draw them and be able to play them.
And you can pretty much finish your round turns before someone else finishes their round, so that can feel a little bit of like gut punch, sort of like why does that person keep playing?
So last time we played with the special powers, so the dual-sided player boards. My first round, I don't know, I may have taken like 4 actions total.
And
then Richard Kevin and Richard were taking a lot more, and it's just that one, I didn't have a lot of starting stuff. 2, I didn't have great cards that synergized together. Now, later in the game, I was able to do a lot better, and I think I actually ended up winning the game.
I think she won the game.
But that first round, I did have that, kind of like Lost Ruins of Arnak or other games.
Tapestry.
Where players play until they pass. So sometimes you can get into a round where you're not able to do as much just because things didn't fall your way, or maybe you didn't make the best choices of using your resources.
All right.
Okay, so we were talking about those synergies and how sometimes they can feel bad if you're on the wrong side of them, but if you're on the right side of them, they can feel really good. All right. I think that should transition us into our commendations, because it's like the opposite side of the coin.
Yeah, the one thing... there's a lot of things that I like about this game, but moving along that line, the player powers, those are fun. They're enjoyable to play with asymmetric player powers. So what you do is a little different than what I do, or I have the special thing that I'm doing now. We'll say some of them seem a little bit more powerful than others.
Or maybe they lean into certain strategies.
Right, yeah. Because if you lean in that strategy, then you're not going to be doing other things that another player would do, which I'm okay with. I like that in game. And I like that the player powers they're cool. They're cool.
So the game, your player boards, you can either play on the sun side, which is completely the same for everybody, or on the moon side, and then you have asymmetric, like, income and powers. Kevin's power, you were able to spend cards one for one.
It's my exchange rate was a lot better. And that was, and I enjoyed, because this is a card-driven game, and there's a way to get a lot of cards, I was like, this works well for my own strategy, and I think I worked that game really well. I don't think I won, but I enjoyed that ability.
Yeah, my power, there are 2 different types of workers, and your elders are much more restricted in what they can do. And my power let my elders activate cards in my tableau that were in the top, the outer circle, or the bottom circle. So I had a little bit more flexibility with my worker placement aspect.
Yeah. And I think another one was like you have to deal with, like, it has something to do with power stones and activating them. So that's cool that they're all like really different. This is a card-driven game. We mentioned that even in the critiques, but I think I like card-driven games. I enjoy what to help me synergize these cards, and can I combo these well together? I like that in games.
So one of the things that I found interesting and that I enjoyed with the cards is some of them have personal worker placement action spaces on them. So as you're playing, not only can you send your witches out to the main boards to activate actions, you are starting to create and build your own actions in your player area. So I liked that variability. There are some cards that sometimes let you use other people's actions, so that was nice. It makes the game fluid. It's different. It's always evolving what you can do. It's not like, oh, there are these 10 worker placement action spaces that you have for the entire game. It's if I play this card, now I can do something new.
And so there's a lot of positive interactions. So you can take a spot on your board that basically activates someone else's card, but you're not messing up that player's plan or that player's card. It's not like you're taking their spot, which I think is good. If this game was like, oh, you're messing up my plans because you need to do things in a certain order, and all of a sudden you can't do that anymore, I'll be like, oh, I don't like that in this game. This game, it's fine. Actually, when you take a card and you're using a power and you're using someone else's card, for an example, their power, usually you're giving that person that benefit too.
Yeah, like maybe a point or a resource or
you want to get those good cards out. So people are using your cards and getting more stuff.
Yeah, so I would say the interaction in that aspect is more of the positive interaction. You get to do something good. The penalty is you're helping another player. Yeah. So instead of hurting other players. Another thing along those lines is there is a area control-ish aspect, the battle phase.
The battle phase. It sounds really mean, but it's not.
But you're trying to have the most strength in the different areas.
It's an area control game.
What I like is that you get a benefit even if you don't have the most strength, because they have thresholds, like 4 strength, 6 strength, 8 strength. If I get to 6 strength, it doesn't matter if anyone's beaten me. I still get the benefits of the 6 and the 4 spot.
Not only the 6 strength, you get all of them below, like that one and the ones below.
So it's not an all or nothing battle.
Yeah.
So I like that you still get something. Now the player with the most strength gets a power stone, and those are really helpful. They double points. If you're Richard's character, you can actually use them to get stuff. So there's definitely...
In the game that we played with Richard, yes.
Our friend Richard played with us, and he had the player board that could use those for extra things. So I like that, again, it doesn't feel bad. Oh, I lost the battle, I get nothing. No, I can still get the benefits that I'm hoping to get. In that battle phase, you can spend mana. It's kind of like Scythe with the power dials.
Mm-hmm.
You secretly determine how much you're going to spend. Everyone can see what your level is.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that. How high is he going to go? Is he just going to go to 8? Or do I need to go to 9? Will that help me win it? So.
Yeah. Or even as you're playing in the middle of a round, you're like, oh, Melissa never put any of her workers up in this. Because there's 3 different worlds you can go in to do the area control. Like, almost like, I can put my players up there and I won't have to worry about battling her, so I could get the power stone that I need.
You have to have someone up there to actually be in the battle.
So, I like all the things about that we talked about. Let's move into our conclusions.
So I honestly didn't know a lot about this game before it came, and I was like, oh, I don't know, what is it? It looks a little complex out of the box. We had to build all the stuff.
It says 30 minutes per player, and I would say yes.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the different mechanisms. I keep comparing it to Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is a game that I really enjoy because it has a mixture of things that you're doing, and this slight similarities in that you're playing cards and you're putting workers out and you're trying to do different things.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game. It was easier to learn than I would have thought just by glancing at it.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the transferring cards down.
Going from your outer circle to your inner circle.
Which is an interesting aspect of the game where when you play your cards, you're normally playing them to your top row. And while they're in your top row, you can harvest them and get benefits for them. But they only score points if you transfer them down to your bottom row. So part of the game is figuring out how to get...
I'm gonna get them down.
how to get those transfers, because there's only a few ways to do it. And I thought that was an interesting balance of how long do I keep them up top to get the harvesting benefits, and when do I try to bring them down to make sure that I score points for them.
So conclusion for me is, if you like games that are card driven, we've mentioned this, but not only card driven, they're like, it's multi-use cards, and the tension on not only where am I placing these cards, but my workers, we mentioned not only can you play them out in area control, but you can place them in your own. So there's a lot of like good tension. I think it's good that this game is sort of forcing you to like choose. You know, you'll have a limited number of workers. Are you going to play them out there? Do you want to play them on here? What are you going to do with your cards? There's different types of cards. Where are you putting them? So if you like that sort of idea on, I don't want to say variability because we use that word a lot, but I feel like tension in like, what am I going to do with the cards and the workers?
You have the resource management because you can use resources to do a lot of different things, which is most important to you.
Yeah.
Combos, so certain synergies between cards can really feel like you're doing a lot on a turn.
So for me, is this a great game? I don't know if it's a great game. It's a good game. Like, I enjoy playing it. Will it be in my top 10? Probably not of the year. I know we talked about our top 10s, but we're halfway through the year. We're a little past halfway. It's like, it's a good game. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be my top 10. I'm just saying, you know, that's like higher, to me, high echelon games.
Yeah, I would need to look through my list of what I've played and kind of look forward to what might be coming.
Right.
I think this could potentially land in the bottom half of my top 10. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to make my top 10, but I enjoy it, and it's a good, like, it's not a bad game. It's a good game. I don't know if it's like an amazing, like, that's what I'm saying. It's not
there are so many good games. What you're saying is there are so many good games that come out.
So many good games. It's not an amazing, like, when I think of an amazing game, I'm like, wow, they did something like different I've never seen before that like really works well thematically and mechanically. Like, there are games that have come out this year that I'm like, I just really enjoy them. I will say, for the card drivenness, the time, it's not a slog. It plays well. It makes sense. It, like when I'm thinking about this, like, oh, it checks all your boxes, Kevin. It should be in your top 10. But I'm just like, but I've seen all this stuff before. I think that's where I am. It's like, I've seen card drivenness before. I've seen worker placement before. Does it do some things a little bit different? Sure, but I wouldn't say it's like, wow.
Let's see. I would say if you like games like Lost Ruins of Arnak,
Yep.
this I feel like probably fits in a similar category. I think it's maybe a little simpler than Arnak.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly, because you don't have quite as many things.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Play your cards, pay resources to do it, and then, get your workers out.
But it still has that aspect of trying to do things in the right order, trying to extend your round to do more things.
Yes, like
trying
Lost
to get
Ruins.
those
and then you keep
synergies.
comparing it to Lost Ruins. Like, I probably would just play Lost Ruins instead.
I think I probably would as well. I just really like what's going on in Lost Ruins.
And it
But
plays about the same amount of time.
probably a little less setup, I think.
Sure.
But anyway, I enjoyed Evenfall. It's the type of game that if someone suggested, hey, will you play this? Can we play this? I would say yes without hesitation, I think.
Yep.
So
I think I give it a big thumbs up. I'm just like, I don't know if it's like the best game of the year sort of thing. That's where I'm at. So, good game.
all right, well, if you've played it, let us know your thoughts, or if there's anything that we've said that intrigues you about it, let us know in the comments.
Please like and subscribe.